So let's learn something about the rupee invoicing because this is a great concept. India has announced the connections with the 18 plus countries about the rupee invoicing. So many of you are having some questions like what is that concept, how to do that rupee invoicing, what are the procedures and a lot of things. So let's learn from this concept from the experts, and we have with us the renowned personality Mr. Sudhakar Kasture, who is international trade consultant and FTP renowned policy experts. They will also guide us about that. Mr. Chintan Master, co-founder and director of Finrex Treasury Advisors LLP, and he is the managing partner at Finrex Treasury, specializes in providing treasury and accounting solutions for corporate strategies. And plus we have Mr. Bhavin Gajar, executive vice president and zonal head, business banking, trade and forex yes bank. So, and he's having 17 plus years of experience in the banking, forex and foreign exchange also. So I welcome to all the delegates. Please come on the stage and we will start with the panel discussions. So we have the delegates with us and expert faculties, we can say the expert industry leaders with us, and they will guide us about the rupee invoicing and the forex treasury management. You can say like the forex invoicing also, fluctuations, dollars and lot many things in that. So I welcome you all three here and thank you so much for coming with our invitations. Regarding the subject, it is actually the huge part and playing the important role in the international business. So India and the 18 countries and the rupee invoicing. So I just request to each one of you to share the few minutes thought about that rupee invoicing and the procedures about that. So what is your thought and how it will go ahead? Please, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. It is really good to see that wonderful, buyer-seller meet what we're seeing over here. And thanks to KDSushma, taking this initiative and, getting all the, mid-sized exports firms, companies, and the all delegates coming from outside international markets. Yeah. So now, see, it is very important thing to understand, for the exports market, how we are managing on the international area, on the procedural part, as well as all to understand how the transaction will take place. So before we understand all these, technicalities towards operational part, we first need to understand why this system has come into place, why rupee invoicing, has taken place, why the government is behind this, what are the major reasons behind what the government is really pushing this part. So I'm sure that this has really come up from government side as well as other government from the international markets, even Germany is talking about this kind of mechanism to have their own currencies, to have the exports in their own currency segment side. So what is the reason? For example, this Russia thing has happened and that has really put on, pressure on the governments, to make up their own mechanism, because being a country that gets certain ways sanctioned from other countries like US and other, it becomes an issue for the, for the materialistic exporters to deal with it part. So one important matter, yes, today, government really wants to push this mechanism, to increase the exports business. This mechanism has really played, is playing in certain countries like Russia. If you want to do some exports in Russia, the government is behind, do it in rupee or ruble transactions. And this will have a direct implications on the export side.
Thanks, Sushma, for giving us such a lovely opportunity to participate in a forum where actual buyers and sellers are present. And it's an excellent event because we're sitting out in India and there are at least 12 more countries participating in this event. So thanks for that. And so like Chintan rightly mentioned, the focus of the government is to ensure that the way we want to place India globally is that we want to partner with all the countries who want to grow along with us. It's not just the developed markets, which has the larger pie of the entire world economy. We want to grow along with countries who are similar to us, the emerging markets. Now, if we want to remove the dependency from the so-called dollar, which is dominating most of your global trades, second the euro or a pound, but then dollar substantially overpowers all the other major currencies. So the only way to do it is that start making rupee acceptable globally. That's the initial move that government has taken. Now for that, we always had Rupee Vostro accounts. So people familiar with it will understand that Rupee invoicing is not something new per se. The differentiating factor is this is a special Rupee Vostro account. What is the additional key factor that the government has added is that the additional surplus rupees that lie in this account can now be invested in India. Okay, they can be invested in government securities. They can be invested in government T-bills and all the other available investment mechanism approved under the FEMA guidelines. So that's the key. What it essentially means is that I am buying and selling from a country. So for example, we are great in onion, so I am exporting onion to Vietnam. They are good in textile and maybe some finished textiles are coming back to India. Now I don't want to encourage a third currency or a third country to take the advantage between these two countries. So we eliminate the USD out of it, we get the rupee. Now the acceptability of this trade entirely depends on the other country's acceptance also of our currency. So that is why it is essentially more important to ensure that our acceptability is not just limited to the two bilateral countries that we are talking about, but it gets accepted across more and more countries, and that's the main initiative that the government has taken along with it. While it's a great move, we've seen that it's almost a year plus that this move has taken place. In fact, representing Yes Bank, we take pride that we have done a lot of rupee trade settlements for large corporates. In fact, we were one of the only banks, if I could say, that we have settled a bullion trade. So we have bought gold from UAE and the entire transaction, a large ticket transaction was settled in rupee. So there are bits and pieces of success, but it is still not seen that acceptability or granularity, where I would love that most of my trades with these countries where I have successfully opened special rupee Vostro to convert to rupees. The challenge that we see is that some of the countries like Russia, Russia because of the war situation has almost removed US dollar out of the equation. So if for whatever reason there is a trade that needs to take place between India and Russia, it cannot happen in US dollars. So the alternative available is that you either do it in rupee or you do it in their currency, which is the Russian ruble. Now the challenge is that I'm not able to do a lot of rupee trades is the amount of oil that I import from that country, okay, substantially overweighs whatever I'm exporting. You know, it's like I am importing 100 units worth oil and I'm exporting around 15 to 20 units worth of my merchandises. So that's where the challenge comes in. You know, that country, now Russia, where do they deploy this additional rupee if it is getting traded in rupee? So this is the key element that needs to be addressed. Now investing is one of the key focus areas. Now if this picks up and the other countries start investing directly, okay, not just in government securities, but if they start directly investing in the companies they are trading with, you know, like an FDI transaction, then that money will stay for long and they will not be worried also to deploy these rupees. You know, these are some of the avenues that can pick up and you can actually see this special rupee Vostro getting more and more acceptance. So these are a few key pointers from my end, and I'm sure Mr. Kasture will add much more insights. Thank you.
Good afternoon, friends. The most interesting aspect for any person sitting here is his comfort level with his own currency. If I am doing a trade and if I am receiving money in my own currency, I would be extremely happy. I may be from Bangladesh, then I am looking at Taka. I may be from Vietnam, I am looking at Vietnam currency. If I am in Indonesia, I am looking at Indonesian rupee. At the end of the day, I feel comfortable with my own currency. Now there is a problem. What is that problem? The rate fluctuates. And it's very interesting. When I exported, I made an invoice in dollar Let's say the rate was 83 rupees to a dollar, and when I actually receive money, the rate becomes 81. What is ultimately happening to my trade transaction? I am losing 2 rupees. Other way around, when I thought rupee is 81 but I actually got 83, I'll be happy. But one thing which is primarily important for particularly SME sector is I do not want to get disturbed by fluctuations in currency. And it's our simple methodology of understanding if I want to travel abroad that I'll go to the bank and buy dollars. Why? Because my currency is not convertible. So there is a need. This need has emerged from more and more footprint of India in global economy. Now we are talking of global south. So there is a need for doing trade in the currency, and it has long-term impact. One impact is it will reduce my transaction cost. Second impact is I am a country of 140 crore, great market for every single country in terms of population. And yesterday also I told you this, that my first requirement is food. Irrespective of what kind of human being I am, I require food. So food, agriculture, vegetables are going to be a permanent structure of trade. If I can do this trade in my own currency, simultaneously, if it reduces transaction cost for my partner, and then if it helps to develop the trade both ways, that I am exporting in rupee, it is also possible to buy things, and then we have some definite buying selling happening otherwise. For example, I am buying oil from Saudi Arabia, I am buying oil from Iran, I am buying oil from number of other countries, which is my essential requirement. If I can convert this kind of a trade in rupee, then yes, the person in Iran would like to buy something from India, let's say agricultural product, and if he can pay in rupees, that will give him a much better option to do trade and increase trade. So at the end of the day, the trade balance between two countries, dependency on my own currency, monitoring my own currency, and most importantly, increasing my global footprint. All three are helped by rupee invoicing. One more aspect to understand, the special rupee Vostro account, that is the mechanism for rupee invoicing. Currently it is happening by conversion of other currencies into rupees. The bank has to put that money in India and you get paid out of that. In the policy, amendment has been made that if you get money through the special rupee Vostro account, you are also entitled to get all the benefits available under foreign trade policy. A special provision has been made for that, which was earlier only for Iran. Now it is for all the countries where you are doing rupee invoicing through a special Vostro account. So it's a welcome step. Of course, it will take time because dependency on currency is a long-term issue for a number of economies. But this is going to happen, and that will help us to expand our trade.
Thank you so much. So I think we have got some insights about the rupee invoicing. There are plus, minus, opportunity, challenges with everyone. So with this rupee transactions, I must say the dollar is also the bigger currency now. Like though India is starting there. So I just want to request you, sir, like being in a treasury and you are dealing in that. So what is the impact like if anyone is dealing in the dollar? So there is also the gain and losses are there. So how to recover that? This is one. And what are the role of treasury in that things? So, and what is better, dollar or rupees? So this is also the question in the mind of the people.